Arthur clutched his chipped mug. Tea gone cold, much like his hopes. His shop, Arthur's Antiquities, was a labour of love. Now it was a burden. Rent loomed, customers dwindled. Another day, another unsold relic gathering dust. He sighed, staring at a chipped porcelain doll, probably worth more than his entire stock, a harsh truth for an antique enthusiast. Arthur stepped out, pulling the shop door shut with a groan. The London air was thick with exhaust fumes and despair. His own reflection in the grimy window mocked him. A man drowning in bills and unsold dreams. He needed a miracle, or at least a generous collector. His gaze fell on a dingy alley opposite his shop. He'd never ventured down there. Just another path to nowhere, or was it? Curiosity piqued. Arthur crossed the street. The alley reeked of something both foul and enticing, like exotic spices left to rot. The air hummed with an energy that set his teeth on edge. He ventured deeper, ignoring the unsettling feeling crawling up his spine. The alley opened into a small courtyard, and in the centre a sight that defied logic. A swirling vortex of colours pulsed, spitting out strange debris and a cacophony of unknown sounds. Arthur cautiously approached the vortex. It pulsed, a living entity. He could hear whispers, snippets of conversations in languages he couldn't even begin to comprehend. He reached out, half expecting a shock, but there was nothing. Just a tingling sensation that ran up his arm. He peered into the swirling mass. For a moment he saw a glimpse of another world. Alien landscapes, impossible structures that defied gravity. Then it was gone. He was about to turn back, convinced he'd inhaled something toxic, when he noticed it. A small, almost invisible door set into the wall beside the vortex. It was crafted from a material he didn't recognize. The door pulsed with the same energy as the vortex. Intrigued, Arthur pushed it open. The hinges groaned, a sound that belonged in a horror film. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The air inside was thick and heavy, like stepping into a greenhouse filled with unknown plants. The chamber was a riot of colours, smells and sounds. Alien beings, unlike anything Arthur could have imagined, bartered and haggled in 100 different languages. Stalls overflowed with bizarre merchandise. Glowing plants pulsed with an eerie light. Crystals hummed with unknown energies. Creatures in cages chirped, growled and hissed. Arthur felt a thrill course through him. This was it, the miracle he'd been hoping for. He wandered through the aisles, his senses overwhelmed. He saw creatures with skin like polished obsidian, others that shimmered like jewels. Some were humanoid, others defied description. The air vibrated with 1,000,000 different conversations, a symphony of alien tongues. Arthur felt a pang of loneliness. He was an outsider, a lone human in a marketplace of the stars. He stopped at a stall piled high with strange devices. They whirred and clicked, emitting pulses of light. The stall owner, a creature with 6 arms and skin like tree bark, grinned at him, revealing a mouthful of needle-sharp teeth. "Interested in a quantum harmonizer?" the creature rasped, its voice like gravel on stone. "Guaranteed to align your chakras with the celestial spheres." Arthur smiled politely. Arthur, ever the businessman, saw an opportunity. He pulled out a small silver locket from his pocket, a family heirloom. He approached a stall run by a creature with large, iridescent eyes and skin that shifted colors like a chameleon. The creature examined the locket with a curious click of its tongue. "What you trade?" it asked, its voice a melodic chirp. Arthur, using a combination of gestures and broken phrases, managed to convey his desire to trade the locket for something valuable. The creature, whose name Arthur learned was Zilia, studied him with those intelligent eyes. She seemed to sense his desperation, his honesty. With a nod, she rummaged under her stall and pulled out a small, smooth stone. It glowed with an internal light, pulsing gently in her hand. "Energy stone," she chirped. "Very powerful, very rare." Arthur hesitantly took the stone. It felt warm to the touch, filled with a strange energy that thrummed against his palm. One evening, while sharing a pot of something that tasted vaguely of tea with Zilia, Arthur noticed the tension. The market, usually a cacophony of sound, was unusually quiet. The aliens, even the vibrant ones, seemed on edge. Whispers, hushed and urgent, travelled through the crowd. Arthur caught snippets of conversation, words like war and invasion spoken in hushed tones. He turned to Zelia, his brow furrowed with worry. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Zelia's usually bright eyes were clouded with worry. "The balance is shifting," she chirped, her voice subdued. "War is coming." She explained that the two factions Arthur had observed were not just social groups, they were rival species locked in a bitter, centuries-old conflict. The market, she revealed, was the only place where a fragile peace held, a neutral ground where both sides could trade and interact without bloodshed. But now, that peace was threatened. Over the next few days, the tension in the market thickened like congealing blood. The vibrant aliens, whom Zelia identified as the Krill, became increasingly aggressive, their arrogance replaced by a cold, calculating ruthlessness. One day, a Krill approached Arthur's stall. He was tall and imposing, his skin a vibrant, almost glowing green. He wore a sneer that sent a chill down Arthur's spine. "Human," he growled, his voice like grinding stones. "I hear you have access to something I require." He produced a small metallic device. It hummed with a sinister energy that made Arthur's skin crawl. "This device," the Krill continued, "can pinpoint the Lumina's hidden settlements. I need something to power it, something rare." Arthur's blood ran cold. He recognized the device from Zelia's descriptions. It was a weapon, a tool of genocide, and he knew exactly what the Krill wanted, the energy stone, the gift Zelia had given him. The Krill leaned closer, his eyes gleaming with malice. "The stone," he hissed. "Give it to me, and you will be richly rewarded." That night, Arthur didn't go to the market. Instead, he paced his small flat, the energy stone feeling heavy in his pocket. He thought of the market, the bustling heart of 1,000 worlds. He thought of Zelia, her kindness, her unwavering belief in him. He thought of the Krill, their cold eyes, their casual cruelty. He was just one man, a shopkeeper from London, caught in a conflict that spanned galaxies. He looked at the relics in his shop, each one a testament to the past, to choices made and consequences faced. He realized he couldn't stand by and watch history repeat itself. Not on his watch, he had to do something, but what? He was no warrior, no diplomat. The next day, Arthur returned to the market. The tension was almost unbearable. The Krill patrolled the aisles, their weapons gleaming. The Lumina huddled together, their eyes filled with fear. Arthur made his way through the anxious crowd, his heart pounding in his chest. He reached Zelia's stall and quickly explained his plan. She listened intently, her iridescent eyes wide with a mixture of fear and hope. The plan was audacious, bordering on insane. Arthur, using his knowledge of human history and the Krill's arrogance, intended to stage a distraction, a diversion that would buy the Lumina time to escape. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble, but it was their only hope. Zelia, trusting Arthur with her life, agreed. She spread the word among the Lumina, her voice a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. As the Krill prepared to make their move, Arthur put his plan into action. He created a commotion, pretending to have discovered a hidden cache of ancient artifacts. The Krill, enraged by their empty victory, turned on Arthur. He stood alone, surrounded by their cold fury. He knew what awaited him. He closed his eyes, accepting his fate, but death didn't come. When he opened his eyes, he saw Zelia standing before him, a shimmering energy field protecting them both. "You saved us, Arthur," she chirped, her voice filled with gratitude. "Now, come with us. You are one of us now." Arthur hesitated. He looked back at the portal, a swirling gateway to 1,000 worlds. He could leave his old life behind, start anew among the stars. But could he truly abandon his home, his world, even if it meant safety? He looked at Zelia, her eyes pleading with him to choose life, to choose hope. He made his choice. With a sad smile, he shook his head. "This is my home," he said, his voice firm.